Hey guys, what's going on? Super here. Welcome to the channel. Today I'll be going over my round 5 review. I scored 1,971 in the top 10% and I went up the ranks by 45 spots, which is okay because we had a pretty shocking week. So I'm sitting at season rank of 5,485, which isn't the worst. But yeah, last week I used my boost trades, so got in Flanders and Nick Martin, which weren't the worst. Kind of had to get Nick Martin in because he had such a low break even, but got 100. So hopefully he can go a bit higher than this and doesn't actually curse me. And then we got Flanders, who's been playing a bit of halfback and stuff at the moment. So he's been great, not having to worry about picking him up anymore. So that's huge. But yeah, it did come at a little cost there though. Had to trade out D'Ambrosio for Nick Martin, or Flanders, I mean. But yeah, it's a bit of a stitch up. I was actually going to trade out McKercher, but I was like, I think McKercher's got a bit more cash to be made. Can probably play him a bit more in the midfield. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. He just went out with that shoulder, I think it was, in the first quarter and finished with a score of 6. So he's probably going to have to get rid of him as well this week. So that's no good. I got 75k in the bank, 3 boost trades left. So we can probably do something here if we wanted to. But going over the side, Sheasel's just an absolute beast. He's just in unbelievable form. 159. He's got the D1 status now, so just an absolute god in defence. Someone that we'll be having in our teams for multiple years to come. And then we got Whitfield, 109. This is what I expected to see from him when I traded him in. But Sam Taylor is out now, so he's got even more of the ball, so that's great. And then McGovern wasn't the greatest this week. Got a 72. He versed Richmond and they actually got their first win of the game, so I'm not going to be too salty about this one. I think he can bounce back against Freo, especially if they get pumped. But they might actually be a bit competitive, so can't say anything just yet. And then Williams got 92, so pretty good. Just going to hold him until he's maxed out his cash gen, and then I'll get rid of him probably. Could be a D6 option for a bit, but don't see him as a long-term keeper. And then Howe's got a 62, so he kind of reset his cash gen there with a 21 break even, so could hold on to him now if we wanted to. And then Colossi traded him in, which was absolutely lucky there. Got the 124, so actually taking the piss there. Got a negative 147 174 break even, sorry. So he's going to go up a shit ton. So you just have to trade him in if you don't have him. So, definitely need to bring him in this week. You could even do a triple downgrade this week if you wanted to, but it is still best 18, so wouldn't be the worst shout. Then, Bontempelli just hasn't been playing the greatest. He's got the 164 break even, so people that don't own him might be able to get him in pretty cheap. So that's good for you guys, but does have St Kilda this week, so he could bounce back. There's a 181 in there, so I'll probably chuck the VC on him this week, I think. Just hasn't been getting much of the ball, though. That's the only concerning thing. Like, he did score pretty good last week, but a couple goals saved him, I think. Struggling to get 20 touches nowadays, which is from a multi perspective. But, yeah, he just isn't really going that great in terms of getting the ball, but maybe he's got like a niggle or something that he's playing through, but I think he should be able to bounce back against the Saints, especially when it's just Steele really to be worried about in the midfield. So I think Bond should be a VC option. And then Butters 130 was good. He's probably going to go back up in price, which will be nice. But yeah, he's had a good year so far, so can't complain there. And Tom Green wasn't the greatest. 72, which is pretty shocking. Played on Steele, I think. So yeah, not too good from him. And then Steele went nuts. He went absolutely crazy. So good to see this from Steele. Just what a great starting pick he's been. You probably would want to get him in if he's got North coming up. So wouldn't be a bad shout. Maybe Will Drew tags him in the Port Adelaide matchup, but not too sure about that one. But yeah, there's not really many tags going around these days anyway. And then Dacos will come back this week. Ideally, would like to get him into the defender line. I think Nick Martin will be another guy I'll be able to swing back into defence as well. Hopefully he can get higher scores than 100 though. But as a D6, I don't really mind. Or he'll probably be a bit higher than that. He'll probably be my D2, which will be crazy to think. Oh, there's, Dacos will be going back as well. But Sanders got subbed off, obviously, so that's no good. I think I'll just have to hold on to him this week and see how he goes and make the decision to get rid of him next week if that does happen. McKercher is probably gone for me this week. 101 break even. Not sure what he's done. Maybe he's right to play, but I think just have to get rid of him at this price point. He'll drop too much unless he backs it up, but probably unlikely. Then, we can field Roberts this week, which will be nice. And won't be touching Wilson. Still has a negative break even, so he's still got a bit of money to be made there. And Clark probably gets dropped this week. So you probably might just hold on to him if Dangerfield comes back in. Just use him as a loophole. Hope he doesn't get the sub. I think Manor might be a chance now if Clark isn't playing the greatest, so he could get some cash gen going for you as well. And then, we took the VC from Gawn, which most people would have, so can't complain with that score there, so pretty good. And then Jackson was pretty shocking just with the disposal, so not really sure what I'll do there with him. Wait and see how he goes against West Coast before I make a decision. Could be like just a straight trade to English in a couple of weeks' time if I wanted to do that. But I think he has the potential to be a top 6 keeper forward, so probably could just hold him for the whole year as well. And then, Heaney is coming back, which is good. Hopefully he keeps the good form up. And then he still has a 50 break even. You probably if you don't have him, it's an interesting one. You'd probably rather get Steele though if you don't have him. Or maybe you grab someone like Elliot Yeo, you get the value. And then your Flanders was good. Finally got him in the side, so good to finally get his score for once, which is good. Not having to worry about not owning him anymore. And then Powell is pretty decent to score that score, so that's not too bad from him. Fife has got a bit of money to be made still, so won't be trading him out yet. Reed has just reset his cash gen, which is awesome, so he'll go up to 400k soon, which would be good. You'd be spewing if you traded him out for some reason. And then, Darcy's been pretty good. Pretty surprising to see him keep backing it up with 80s, which is nice. And, Cadman, I think I'll hold him again. Next week I might trade him. And Campbell was pretty shocking. Could trade him this week if I wanted to. I could probably do that, but I think for me, I'll just use the 2 trades this week because it's still best 18, so I'll just get rid of Gibcus finally. He just needs to get out of my side, and then I'll swing Dacos back there, kind of revamp my defence structure a little bit, which will be nice because, now I've got rid of D'Ambrosio, gone early on him. I need to get Dacos down back ASAP. And we'll just grab Graham because, he's another guy that you just have to get in this week. And we'll get rid of McKercher, get some cash out of him. And we'll swing Reed into the midfield and grab Comben. So pretty obvious trades this week. Most people will probably be doing the same thing. And if you don't have... Comben is a bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it just in terms of the rookies and stuff. There's not too many good rookies available, so I think I'm just going to take the punt there, and then I'll still have 164k in the bank. But some people will probably have to bring in Clossy as well. I think it's alright if you do want to use a boost and get all of them in. If you don't have all of them, that's probably okay as well, just for the cash gen in the future. Otherwise, you'd use your last trade to get an upgrade, probably in the midfield, preferably, or in defence. But I probably wouldn't be looking at anyone in defence just yet, with Nick Martin and all these guys coming in. So this is how I'll line up. Probably not a bad projected score, really. And then that gives me a bit of cash for next week when I'll cash in my boost and probably try and get in Petrarca. I think I'll probably try and aim for Petrarca next week. Surely he's not going to score shit again. He's got 156 break even. Fair chance of hitting that against Richmond though. So I think I'll get him in next week. And then he's got like West Coast coming up. Should go good against the Cats. I would imagine Carlton, an interesting matchup. But there's also merit around as well. He's M1, so probably try and get him in if I can afford him. But I don't want to be paying up for anyone past 650k. It's just too much. But then again, he does have a dream fixture coming up, so I'll probably just give it until round 7, and if I can get him in, I'll probably do it. But I think Petrarca and like English are the targets for me that I'll be looking to get in the coming weeks. Because English just dropped to 58, which is pretty funny if you're a non-owner. You'd be spewing if you own him, but you got Marshall, and then he's got Darcy and Jackson, so I think he drop a little bit more in price, especially with his high break even, so he should be quite cheap. And then you just want to grab him in for the Hawthorn matchup, I would imagine. Then he'll start going good again, hopefully. But he could, score pretty well as well. But we'll hold on to Sanders for the moment, see if he gets his forward status or not. And then, there's Walsh here who's gone 166, so he could be another guy that you want to trade in next week if he's going to be pumping out 150s again. Might have to bring in Walsh instead of Petrarca, because then he could potentially go down even more Petrarca, and then you get Walsh in. But, he does have that injury history, first game of the season, so could be an injury risk, but I think he just looks really good, because when I was watching the game and I was like, come on, Adelaide, win the game. Didn't want Carlton to win. But, it is what it is from a supporter standpoint. But he just seemed to get the ball everywhere. And, he was like really giving them a chance to win. So he just looked really good. It'd be hard not to pick him up next week. So I think he will probably be the guy if I don't go for Petrarca. A bit more of a pod, but I think he would definitely be able to be a top 8 midfielder. I think obviously I'll just hold on to McGovern. They had their first win of the season, so wasn't going to score the greatest. But he's got, Freo this week, so should bounce back if they get pumped. I think I already went over that, but just to clarify. And then, Zorko's not a bad option to pick up this week either. It's like you could just go like big on the value this week if you wanted to, but I think you'd rather get the big guns like in the midfield or the ruck department if you can. That's what I'll be doing. Just really depends on team structure. Like another play you could think of doing is like maybe getting in like a Zorko and then bring in Shea Bolton next week, and then you've pretty much finished your forward line. Bolton's got a low break even there. And Taranto's out as well, so he's getting more mid-time as well. He's probably another guy that I'll be looking at. If I can maybe I have to use a boost trade just to get even more cash in my bank for next week and try and get Bolton and Walsh, but I feel like Bolton and Zorko aren't going to price you out, so you don't really need to rush to get them in just yet. But we'll wait and see how Zorko goes this week, and then McRae hopefully drops even more, and then we can pick him up at like 400k. That would be laughable, but we've missed out on Ryan. Really can't do much about that. I think he's going to definitely be a top 2 defender, so need to get him in at some point. Just wait for his bad game. Oliver probably won't go near him, and then LDU. Interesting if he's going to be under 500k and he's going 100 plus or 110 plus. Maybe I trade him in, but I think I'll just focus on the other guys, like I've said. And Hayden Young, I'm not opposed to bringing him back in if you've traded him out, or if you just want to bring him in, go for it. I don't really need to do that at the moment because I'll have Nick Martin going back there anyway. But if you don't have Martin, I'd probably suggest doing that. And then, Steele, you probably want to get him in as well. But Sinclair, probably not going to bother with Sinclair this year unless he starts going 124 plus again. And then Houston was pretty good as well. He's probably a fair price if you want to bring him in as like a keeper. But then again, you're probably better off just bringing in Elliot Yeo at that price. Got the 14 break even, so I'd probably get Yeo over Houston in my opinion. Just a bit more value out of that pick. But there's an injury concern as well. And then we've also got, I don't know if I went over Sarong or not, but ideally I wanted to get him in this week for the West Coast matchup. But he just hasn't been going as good for the last 2 weeks. So maybe I go for someone else like Petrarca, who is going to be the main man. Not have to share the pill around as much with like the other guys. Well, there's Oliver, but he's no good for some reason. So this is the side at the moment. Probably run the VC on Bontempelli into Butters here. And then we'll just have a quick look at the leagues. So just got up against Alex in the cash league, so that was pretty lucky there. And yeah, we're not going too bad for... Who have I got this week? I've got Patrick. Oh, watch out, Patrick, mate. Have you got Sexy Steel? Yep, the VC is on him already, so he knows what's up. Just been absolutely killing it this year, so how good to see Steel is killing it. What are we at? We're at like rank 142. That's not too bad. I got done in the other league here, which wasn't the greatest, but we're sitting at rank 11 here, which was pretty surprising out of 2,205, so that's pretty good for that league. But yeah, hopefully I can bounce back up the ranks this week. Just going to have to decide like later on during the week, like if Mana gets named, maybe I'll use the boost and get some more cash out of like a Howes or someone like that. And then I can field Sanders in the midfield and Graham. Oh, wait. No, I'll probably have to put Graham on the bench in that situation. But this is probably how I'll line up this week. And then, next week we can get this guy in from North Melbourne as well as Walsh, probably. That's probably what we'll do. Or, as I mentioned, could also just grab, what's his name, Petrarca. Wait for English to drop a little bit more and then have some money freed up for him. Maybe we trade Jackson to him, not too sure. But yeah, that's about it. It's just like looking at the Essendon fixture coming up is just, they're just crazy. Like I need to get Martin in, Merritt, sorry. But he can't speak anymore. But yeah, that's about it. In terms of players, like, I don't mind like Matt Real either. He's got a pretty nice fixture coming up. So if you were going to get him, you'd grab him this week. But he's got North and West Coast in there. And then there's also, who else is there? There's like another guy that, bloody Dunkley. I'm looking at him as a pod now, actually. Just like, do you do it? But if you're grabbing him, you're grabbing him for a keeper spot. Could be a pod option. Like, he doesn't have the worst fixture coming up. Don't really mind it that much, but I probably wouldn't go there. Probably rather just, as I've mentioned all video, just go for someone that's already dropping like Petrarca or someone like that. But to be fair, Dunkley's coming down a little bit. But yeah, I think just go for the guns. Bring in the rookies that now, because, we're running out of rookies that'll make us a lot of money straight away. So I think this is the play. But yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you liked the video. Subscribe down below if you enjoyed it, and see you next time. Bye-bye.